So I'll just start the meeting anyway, so somebody has to do that. Firstly, for the benefit of the staff that haven't met, two new councillors, Linda Mulligan and Chris Matthews, sitting on my left. A big welcome to you two. We'll say more later, I guess. But now I'll hand over to the General Manager to conduct the election.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should point out for the record that each councillor has now completed their oath or affirmation declaration, so they're allowed to attend and participate in the council meeting. First item on the agenda was the election of the Mayor, and I have received, as the returning officer, one nomination form nominating Councillor John Colton, nominated by Councillor Galvin and seconded by Councillor Egan, and Councillor John Colton has indicated his consent to the nomination. So anyone can nominate from the floor if you wish, and the term is for 2 years. Are there any other nominations?
You'd be joking.
Well, as a returning officer, I declare Councillor John Colton elected Mayor for the next 2 years.
Thank you very much. I'm very honoured to be elected Mayor. I enjoyed the position. I hope that I give it the respect that it's due. I'm very pleased with the team that we've got back here. And I just would like to say to the two new members of our team that you are fully 100% members as of now, so that you speak and vote as just the same as the rest of us do. So please feel free to do that, as I know you will. We've got some big years in front of us. We've got a massive roads budget, as you know, to get through, and we've had a lot of weather damage. And, weather damage will be all paid for, but it has to be actually executed, the work. And, as Alex will say probably later on, that we're going to be absolutely flat down. And we actually have a contract that needs to be approved by Council today. But anyway, look, congratulations to everybody getting back, those of you that got back, and I look forward to another term with you all. I think we've all agreed that in the past we've worked very well together, and I know that they'll continue. And for the new members, when I say that, by no means does everybody agree with everything here, but what has been happening and what has to happen for it to work is that even if you don't agree and you lose the motion, the motion's carried and you don't agree with it, you must support it publicly. And that's what's been happening, and that's why this council's worked so well. So I encourage you two fellas to do that too. I don't think I have anything more to say. I know we've got the election of the deputy mayor now, and but anyway, thanks for putting me back in the seat. I really do appreciate it.
We now have the election of the Deputy Mayor. Prior to that, though, I need a resolution that the Council actually elects a Deputy Mayor for the 2021-23 mayoral term. Do I have a mover? Councillor D. Colton and Councillor Jeff Smith. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. I have at the moment, one nomination for Deputy Mayor from Councillor it's Catherine Egan, but she's nominated by Councillor Galvin, seconded by Councillor John Colton, and Councillor Egan has indicated her consent to the nomination. But as with the Mayor, anyone can nominate from the floor if you wish to. Are there any further nominations? If there are no further nominations, I congratulate Catherine Egan and announce that she's been elected Deputy Mayor for the next 2 years. Well done.
Thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity again. And sort of just about take me through to the end of term. So, thank you, everyone. And as John said, it is a team. It's been a great council to work with. I've thoroughly enjoyed my end of the work, and thank you.
I think that's why there's few of us back again, because it was so good.
It was a good council.
And thanks for accepting the nomination, Catherine. It's a very, very good setup if you've got a mayor in one town, a deputy in the other.
It does, works well that way, and we can support each other and do the opposite.
Yeah,
Australia Day being one of the things that we're coming up
That's
to.
right.
You do that right, right?
yeah. Thank you.
So I'll hand the meeting, control of the meeting back to the elected mayor.
Okay, thanks, mate.
The next item was the proposed meeting cycle.
Just had your mic on. John?
Ah,
And put it down a bit.
yeah, everyone's off, I think. So we've got confirmation of minutes.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you're right, we should go back and do all that sort of stuff as well.
So I think to start off with, I've called for apology that there's none, everybody's here. We need a motion that the confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting held on Thursday, the 25th of November. Somebody'd like to move that way?
that.
Councillor Dixon, seconded Councillor Galvin. I'll put that in motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
And it's now carried. There's no presentations. The call now for declarations of interest and conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest being nil.
Yes, I am the treasurer of the Bingara Op Shop, which is a 355 council committee at the present moment.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's not relative to this meeting. It's just relative to council, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah. Right, Chris, I think you've spoken to the General Manager about that, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah, so that's in order. We've
But
got
they'll
that
be
under-
temporary only.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
The late item, the election outcome plus the November and December investment reports.
Okay, so there's two late items to be added to the agenda with your permission. Somebody like to move, they be added. Councillor Egan, Councillor Colton, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's no carried, thank you. So the next thing, the election outcome,
Well, that's at the end, so we're on to
you want the meeting cycle?
the meeting cycle, and I've just reproduced the way we've been doing it in the past.
Yeah. The only thing that you could consider, I suppose, the meeting cycle's pretty much, you can't do much about that anyway. We have a meeting once a month and we have a committee meeting once a month, mostly. But the only thing is everybody happy with the time, I guess, at 9 o'clock in the morning? We had this debate before the election, and there's a whole lot of things to be considered about this, but it was pointed out to us at the time that the 9 o'clock meeting was keeping some people out of council from standing, that it should have been in the evening, that what didn't become apparent with nominations. There was nobody nominated that, because the answer at the time was that will be determined by the new council at the time we meet. And so here we are today, and we need to do that. Is there anybody have anything to say about that we changed from 9 o'clock in the morning? Are you all happy to go then? Yep, all right, well, we'll leave that alone. And the meeting cycle is as set, and the only change will be maybe the Alga conference. Will that affect it, Max?
It's
19th to the 22nd, I think, of June.
It will.
Right,
We only got notification of that today actually.
yeah.
What we normally do then is just move it forward 1 week or back 1 week if
Yeah.
it's not, so,
Mostly we try and stick to the schedule as best we can, but there'll be an odd occasion when it might be moved, and some occasions we drop the committee meeting altogether. But generally, we meet the second and fourth Thursdays. But we try to, second and last Thursday. Sometimes there's 5.
yeah.
Okay, well, somebody like to move that we adopt that meeting cycle?
Me?
Councillor Moore, thank you. Seconded.
No, I just wanted...
Oh, you had a question, sorry, yeah.
Down here, we still talk about the renovations at the Murray on the Chambers.
Yes.
Are all the facilities coming back to the office there, Max, when that renovations are done? Or can't we be moving some of the services down to the Tourist Information Centre?
Well, the renovations we're talking about there are just the council
The
chambers.
meeting room,
Chambers.
yeah.
And the reason why we haven't started those renovations is because we're in negotiations with the Department of Justice about turning the toilets behind the Warrialda
Yeah.
Courthouse into
Yeah,
public
I read
toilets.
that, yeah.
They're happy to do it, we're just doing the paperwork. Once we can then start that work. The other thing you're talking about is that we're going to be moving our customer service down to the Visitor Information Centre, which will allow us to have the Department of Transport or the RMS 5 days a week there, And we're also looking at doing something in Bingara which would allow us to have the RMS 5 days a week in Bingara as well. Because I know people are always confused about, is it today, is it tomorrow, So that's on track and that's likely to start on the 1st of February. Yep.
Right, and there's the lunchtime thing is always a contention about people being able to pay their rates and that at lunchtime. Will it be open sort of all day, or are they still going to close for lunch?
It's difficult because we have, for security, you can't technically have one person there when there's money being handled. Even though the banks do it, I don't know how they get away with it at the moment, but it was something that was brought to our attention by our insurance company. So because the customer service staff historically have dwindled off, they're just telling us to make aware that not one individual's left with the cash handling.
But if you're moving some of the services down there, you're going to have more people.
There'll only be 2 people down there
Yeah, right.
at all times. So we're improving the services, increasing the RMS, and customer service hours will be longer than they currently are, but there'll also be a saving in wages as well by utilising that.
We're getting way off the track here. I've got some questions about that too, but I think we better deal with what we've got in front of us, which is the meeting cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now I need a mover to adopt the
move.
proposed. Thank you, Councillor Moore, and I had Councillor Matthews as a seconder.
Yeah.
I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried. Now, we'll come back to that later. We better stick to the program.
The election outcome.
The election outcome now.
This was really just for the historical record to record what happened in the election, but you're also, at the first meeting after the election, you have the opportunity, if the council wishes to have any future casual vacancy which may occur over the next 18 months to be the next person who would have been elected would be appointed to that position. So
Move that.
Yes, it's a good
I
idea.
think it's a great idea.
Looking for a seconder then?
Yeah.
Councillor Galvin, I've got. Does anybody like to speak for or against this motion? Just in saying that, I actually rang Frances. She would be the one because there was only one person. I rang her this morning and she said that she would be happy to fill that role if needed, which is a good attitude. Okay, happy to put the motion then? I'll put it, ready to vote. I'll put it. Those in favour say aye. Aye. It's no carried. That, by the way, could save us $30,000,
Easily.
if we have to have a by-election on that.
the November investment report is the next one.
Yeah, Helen, when you're giving your report, could you explain to our new members about the, your actual investments and how they're fixed and, I'm trying to think of the right word, I've come to it.
Yep, no. So we had to get the November report in this month. We've only got 2 months to get it reported back to council, so we've snuck December in as well. So as per the report, we invest our money both with the Regional Australia Bank in term deposits to support local, and we also invest in T Corp in both a cash fund and a medium term fund. So the cash fund we can actually withdraw if we notify them by 12 o'clock during the day. We can have that by close of business that same day, and it does earn good interest. And then we have the medium term cash fund, which you can't withdraw easily from, but it does generally make us a much higher return than the Regional Australia Bank fund does. And then going through the cash investments, they just have our total, and then what we have to restrict for water, sewer and waste, and then any other restrictions we have, which gives us what our discretionary fund is at the moment. So at the moment it does look like we have a whole lot of cash in the bank, but because of all the grant funded works that we've got going on that is directly tied to specific projects, we have to restrict those funds. And then on the last page is the rates collection, which we show every month. And it is it's a very strange one, because even through all the hard times that we've had, we've managed to keep our rates collection right on track. and it's still on track now. It was higher in November than it has been in 3 years, so
Very good.
it's your guess is as good as mine for how and why. But we do have, if you do have any ratepayers that do contact you about having trouble paying their rates, please tell them to get in contact with us. We have a really good system in place that we can set up payment arrangements, and we have a lot of leniency and we have a lot of ability to spread the payments out so that they don't end up in legal recovery with just additional costs that they've then got to pay on top of their outstanding rate. So just if you have any ratepayers that do come to you, please tell them to get in contact with us. It will solve all their problems pretty quickly if they can get in contact with us and let us know what's going on.
Thanks, Helen. Restricted funds was the word I was looking for, and that needed to be explained, because if you cast your eye over this report, you think we're loaded.
It looks good.
And we are going all right, but the thing that I like is the discretionary general fund cash. What an improvement there.
Yep.
That's gone up to 12,000.
While we're talking about money and for the new councillors to know, are we still doing that program through the Regional Australia Bank where we're supporting the home loans?
Yes.
Yes. What we do, what the council does is, if people are, they have sufficient income to service a loan, but they have insufficient deposit, that the council guarantors the difference between the money they have and the deposit they need with the Regional Australia Bank, and they get their home loan. And that was a carryover. Both Yalleroy and Bingara had similar schemes. They used to run it themselves though, but worked out, used Regional Australia Bank, which is a better way to do it because they're actually better at making the assessments than councils are. But we've never had anyone default, and it's allowed a lot of people to buy homes within the shop.
Did you have an inquiry, Councillor Galvin, about that?
No, I was just thinking with all the new,
Sure.
like the blocks that we've sold and, you know, more people wanting to move.
We've sold all 22 blocks now, and I've had an offer on 4 of the blocks in Moore Street, which as yet don't have electricity, but the people are willing to pay a deposit, and so we'll have to...
Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
It is incredible.
Now, there'd be no reason, Max, that we can't do both these in one go.
Right.
Are there any questions now of
Although there's $200,000 extra
In 1 month,
discretionary funds
yeah.
in the
That's because we were closed in December for 10 days and no one could spend any money.
I thought it was something inside.
But anyway, it can still be handled in one. If I take questions, or any questions of Helen, please feel free to ask, because I always try and come up with a really difficult one, but I can't today.
Well, maybe I could just make a comment too for the new councillors, that the council's ability to invest is restricted under the guidelines issued by the Treasury from state government. And in fact, the council does have an investment policy as well, which you'll be given a complete set of policy if you want to ski on the first day. But the council does have extensive policy documents, and investments is one of those documents.
So no questions of Helen. I'm going to lump them together and put them up as one motion. If I could get somebody to move that way, if we
Should
adopt
we
that.
advise our new councillors that we do have a target that we haven't reached yet, and we might get it in the next 2 months?
Oh, yeah. Councillor Colton, David Colton, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Egan. I've asked for questions. I'm going to put that motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. It's now carried. Thank you. I might add that this is most unusual. Usually at this meeting we have the elections and go home. But we've been a while without any business. The other thing was committees. We've been not doing that.
Well, I haven't received all the
Okay,
back from
righto.
But please let me know what committee you want to be on. So,
Did you fellas get that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you get mine, Max? Yeah, I got it
Yes.
too.
I've had 4.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got mine yet.
Perhaps I'd like to ask Tiffany if she'd like to be the chair of the events committee. That's why I didn't send mine back.
Okay. The other thing,
I didn't hear you, I'm really deaf with that.
no, there's nothing happening. I thought that we normally would appoint committee positions today, but Max said he hasn't got all the return into the
And
questions.
there's no committees in February because we're having the induction.
No committee meeting, no.
And Catherine asked if you would be the chair of the events committee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We
okay,
have to take that on.
yeah.
That's 2 days, isn't it, the Monday and Tuesday?
Yes, yes.
February.
Valentine's Day, but don't get carried away with that. So, yeah. What
No, I
day?
just have to.
Well, it's the 15th of February. You'll probably be at the coast, will you, Jeff?
Pardon?
Yeah, I'll be away anyway.
Yeah, that's all right. You've been around long enough. You don't need to be inducted. Geez, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, yes. Now, just an explanation to the two new members. It's not within the Local Government Act to have general business at a meeting. But what we do is go around the room for councillor reports, so that if you have something that you'd like to know, if somebody's been to you with a problem and you want to bring it up at a meeting, that's the time to do it. But on the other hand, if somebody comes to you with a complaint, it's a far better setup if you lodge it with the office rather than wait for a meeting. Act on it straight away, lodge it, and it'll be logged, and they are watched closely and activated. So that's the better way to go.
And it'll usually be acted on too, unless it's like something that requires significant money. If it's just a pothole out the front or whatever, it'll get acted on straight away. And in the past, there have been some councillors that wait to the council meeting, so they're actually stopping us fixing the problem up by doing that.
So can I ask, is there a pro forma for doing that?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
And we have a book that you can fill out. I don't know if if the customer request can be done offline. Does anyone know? Or like on the laptop?
Not through the website yet, but we're working towards that.
But alternatively, you can ring in
Yeah.
and lodge it. Yeah.
If you ring into Charisse, or she'll just put it straight into the customer request system.
Straight away.
Yeah, that's a better way to do it. Yeah.
Those requests are then tracked and we see them move through the system and get closed, and there's correspondence that goes back to the complainant. So it's certainly the best way to do it.
So for me as a beginner, there's a paper form which will give all the information that's required for that complaint to be followed up.
There was booklets, I don't know if they still exist.
Books still exist. The
I've got one somewhere.
Yeah, I've got one too.
Kelly's got one, there you go.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
They'll give you one of those, Charisse, if you go down and see Charisse. she'll
Yeah,
give you
all right, thank you. I haven't been.
Okay,
through it so
now
far.
having said all that, we'll do, right, aren't we, Max, do councillor reports?
yeah.
Councillor Egan, you have anything?
No, nothing
Okay.
that I can think
Yeah.
of at this minute.
Councillor D, Colton?
No.
Nothing, Joe?
No,
Nothing?
I had a phone call about the Gravesend tip being needs some work done to it. Apparently it's a bit messy at the moment. Thank you.
Excuse me, Tiffany, could you put your...
What
I had it on, sorry.
what was the recall about?
The Gravesend tip.
Yeah, is there an issue?
Yeah, they said it was very messy and a disgrace at the moment.
Okay.
I'd say it's probably tested over Christmas, I'd say.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay, around we go to Councillor Dixon.
No, I've got none. Only how's the doggy farm going up?
Oh, yeah.
You were waiting for that, weren't you?
Welcome back, Stuart.
No
That's more.
bushfire report.
No, I've got
That's the one.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring up, I talked to Darryl Dawson the other day, and he's the chap at Warriel that's got 5 blocks of land.
Yeah.
And no one's been in contact with him about the water or where the water or sewage runs down there at the moment in those blocks, on those blocks.
Has he inquired?
Yeah, no, well, the councillor has raised it in the past and it's been passed
Yeah,
on.
Patsy Cox rang him about the electricity and that, but someone was going to get in touch with him about the water and sewage and...
He's got 5 undeveloped blocks, right? He wants to develop them, does he? Or?
Yeah. Well, there's water and power to some of them, but yeah, he doesn't know what to do, or what
Okay.
basically it is for the rest of it, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
What street is it, Councillor Moore?
Oh, it's on Poverty Flat there. I sent you an email, but I can't find it on my phone.
Is it Riddell Street?
It runs down past Joey Hayes. Yeah, past there.
No, I don't know what it's called.
Is that the one?
I can find it, it's been raised before,
Cleels?
and it should have been
Okay.
attended to.
Yeah, and it's over further. It's,
Parallel to the
Mosquito
Creek Road.
yeah.
It's one of the new ones we named, 15 years ago,
Yeah. Showing
after
age.
somebody.
But anyway, if someone can talk to him a bit about it, because he's pretty keen to do it, I think.
Why doesn't he make an appointment and come in and see the staff? Can you suggest that to him?
Well, I didn't, because, I thought Eric was I thought Eric had been
Yeah,
done
yeah.
for him before this.
Well, it's certainly been passed on to the staff, and they should have followed it up, but
I know
it might be an
Patsy
exec-
did talk to him, but no one's talked to him about the water, that's all. Water through to that.
Yeah, that's what he'll need to do, is come and talk to Patsy.
Yeah.
He needs to make an appointment. I think that's the way to go. 'Cause it's-
Well, I can contact him on that.
Yeah,
I've got nothing.
yeah. Councillor Matthews, nothing? And Councillor Mulligan?
Other than that, that's it.
How long you got?
Oh, well,
No, you block your ears, Alex. Obviously, roads around up that neck of the woods are pretty bad. Obviously, floods really impacting badly. When you get rain after rain and potholes, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. I just keep fending them off and saying, look, the council's doing the best they can. So, a couple of comments, if you don't seem to be out there trying, you've got no defence. If you don't do anything, you're in trouble. You're going to cop a real hiding all the time. And I mean, the reason up that neck of the woods is so fertile is because the ground is so movable,
right.
and consequently that's why the roads end up so bad in the wet weather. But there has been a couple of really bad, holes in the road. Like there's wire poking through one of the floodways there. There's a couple of holes there where the biggest trouble is you can't drive around them. Usually potholes you can drive around. There's some holes there you actually can't drive around. It's actually getting very dangerous. And I would say I don't know what the council's public liability insurance policy limit is, but you need to make sure it's enough, because some of those holes, if you hit them in a small car, you'll actually do yourself some damage, so you will. I'd more fear if somebody actually ran off the road. But I think the council needs to be, and I know it's always a problem when you're always looking at budgets all the time, councils need to get in, and a lot of business, they need to be proactive instead of being reactive all the time, instead of having to get back on the defensive all the time, being out there, seen to be actually doing something. I think that's, you probably, one comment on the council, probably just need to try and change that mindset and get out and be a little bit more proactive. I know the trouble is being proactive costs money, but once again, if you're not out there seem to be trying, you're always going to cop a hiding, so you are.
look, I could give you umpteen answers to that, but I'll ask Alex if he'd like to speak.
Yeah, certainly. To address the concern about being out there and trying, we don't have a single item of plant that stands still unless it's in the workshop. Our graders are grading roads as long as there are roads to be graded, and we have staff to work. At present, so with regards to the potholes, which I assume we're talking about Croppermoree Road, Cropper Creek Road, Baroma Downs Road, our jet patch is working 60 hours a week at the moment from the northern end of town. The road network is vast. It's 2,000 kilometres in total. 650 of that is bitumen sealed. And when we have a year like last year, 2 jet patches, it can't keep up. We're lucky that we've got staff that are happy to be working overtime. We've investigated getting an extra jet patcher, hiring one from Ausroads. They're tremendously expensive machines to operate. Really, the state of the road network at the moment, it isn't great, and there's no argument from council that that's the case. We have had 3 natural disaster declarations in the last 12 months, and the result from the first 2 of those was about $14 million, and we're still tallying up the 3rd declaration, but that's expected to push us over $20 million. $20 million worth of damage is $20 million worth of damage, and there's no 2 ways about that. If we could throw an extra 200 staff and another 100 items of plant at it, we'd fix it all in 6 months. We have put on, I've just got some advice from our HR department. We've got 28 new staff in the engineering department since January 1st of last year. We've got 2 extra graders on hire from Westrac. So I think that we are out there and having a go, and we are being seen, but the sheer size of our network and the Shire means that whilst they might not be seen in Cropper Creek, they might be in North Star, or they might be at Yallaroy or Horton or anywhere else. It's at the Councillor Induction workshop, I plan to go into this into a lot greater detail, but simply the guts of it is we've had a very, very bad year last year, and our staff are working as much overtime as they're prepared to work, which in some cases is, as I said, 60-hour weeks. Not a whole lot more we can do.
Yeah, I guess for the other question, or maybe more a comment, is, like there's a lot of sealing to be done in the Shire, like at the county boundary and back in the IB Ball Road. I mean, the question, it's a statement, but if we can't maintain what we got now and you put more sealed roads there, how are we going to maintain those sealed roads going into the future?
Yes, that's a fair point. And so the problem sealed roads at the moment are the 3 in Cropper Creek. The Cropper Moree Road, Cropper Creek Road, Baroma Downs Road. We looked into rehabilitating those last year, and the reason that they weren't rehabilitated is that when they were built in the first place, and particularly Cropper Moree Road, black soil was formed up and 150 millimetres to 200 millimetres of gravel was put on top, and that's why we can't do a cheap rehabilitation on it, and why it hasn't happened already. We've got a road reclaimer that we could just run through. It's a giant rotary hoe, pick it up, mix it up, put cement in it, put it back down. There's not enough material in those roads to do that. So how do we maintain the ones that we're building? We build them better. The applications that we put in for those funding streams, we put in very generous estimates, and we got in the region of between $500,000 and $800,000 a kilometre to build those roads. There's going to be a lot more gravel on them. They will last a lot longer. So the way we look after those roads is just to build them better. We can't change the roads that we've got. We do have funding opportunities coming up in the remaining term of the state government under the Fixing Local Roads program, which we intend to address roads in the Cropper Creek area with. Whether when those rounds to be released is still unknown to me. But
sorry, I don't mean you'd pick on the Cropper Creek area, I'm sure.
No, that's fine. And I specifically mentioned the Cropper Creek area not because that's from where you are, but it's because that's where 3 of our problem unsealed roads are. And the fact that they weren't built in a particularly robust fashion when they were done is part of the reason that we have a problem now. But the main reason, it's I don't know what the records were for the area of rainfall last year, but it was nearly 2 years worth of rain in 1 year.
I think it's about 3 years worth of rain there at the present minute. I don't know how they're going to get rid of it all. There's going to be some trucks on the road.
I think there's a couple of other things, like Inland Rail's not helping our situation.
It's doing nothing, just.
Alex has made some headway with them. The other point is that we might have to improve our PR, I don't know, but to be accused of being reactive and not proactive offends me. 12 years ago, this council went to Canberra and we formed an Australian Rural Roads Group, and as a result of that group over the years, we have changed the way you apply for money. We've added productivity to the equation, which was never there, which made black soil roads a lot more competitive, and we've gone out and we've got we've secured $8 million for the county boundary road, $11 million for IB Ball Road. That's not reactive, that's proactive. You'll always be reactive on flood damage because the worst bits are done first. It has to be reactive, I believe. But I think this council is brilliant. The size of the rate base of what we actually do.
I think it's fantastic. Personally, John, I think it's fantastic you can actually get that funding and you have potentially more funding. I think it's actually you've done a fantastic job in the past. I guess what I'm saying a little bit more being proactive is, I see those floodways. I saw there where the council cleaned out 2 of them and left another one. And I mean, if they cleaned them all out as they went, you wouldn't have half the problems with the floodways. I guess that's what I'm saying.
So,
probably explain that.
Well, the explanation would be that there would have been a third floodway somewhere else that was more
That's
important.
right. Sorry.
And I know I had exactly this issue, had a message on the weekend regarding a causeway with some exposed reinforcement. And the question came to me, why did the bitumen truck go and patch that one and then drive over holes as it left and not patch them? The reason was that there were bigger holes on another road somewhere else and they were working in that direction. So the only reason that the third one wasn't done is that there was a third one somewhere else that was in worse
Higher
condition.
priority.
Councillor Regan?
My question to Alex, please. Alex, I know we've had all that rain. Is there ever an occasion where we have to close a black soil plain and say to the users of that road, you cannot use this road when there's been 3 inches of rain on it, for instance?
No, we don't do it because we put faith in our ratepayers to have the common sense not to do that. But
And did they do it, my question?
Well, Inland Rail's a problem.
Inland Rail we've had issues with which I believe are mostly resolved. But other councils, I know Forbes on their Facebook page, after certain rainfall events, they say all black soil roads are closed to vehicles. I think it's over 6 tonnes or something to that.
Well, we opened it up to get the produce going and we put B doubles on there and everything. Are we able to say that the landholders are being responsible enough?
We've
if
got
it's that bad?
We certainly have the power to put that restriction in place. Whether the council has the appetite to enforce it would be another question.
No, I guess I'm asking, is it a problem?
It's not often. Remember a few years ago, we had somebody tow a truck up the county boundary road.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
And we saw
But
those
it's rare,
pictures.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a rare occurrence. I just was thinking back to some of those things and people saying, oh, I couldn't get my trucks out, we tried and we got bogged. Well, you shouldn't be trying, that's my
That's
answer.
right, that's correct.
Can I just comment on that? There's on the Bucky Road, back on the more east side of it, there was road trains getting bogged everywhere and they closed the road.
Yeah, Rory, they close roads, yeah.
Yeah.
So sides will close roads,
Yeah, I
particularly out
think
west.
that,
Yeah.
and I think that becomes necessary if we're doing indiscriminate damage that needs to be.
Yeah.
We're just still on council reports. I just want to see if you've got any more.
Oh, a little bit like Tiffany with Cropper Creek, somebody passed a comment, it's a bit of a tip too.
The tip.
Yeah, the tip's a tip.
Copper Creek, it's,
And the recycling fills up too fast too.
They often have fires there too.
yeah, usually we do.
I've got
Can I
one
make
more. We did have a letter came through to us. I don't know whether every councillor received
That's
it.
what I was just going to ask
From the
about.
Tessereros.
Well, I've got that in my report.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll leave it with you.
Yeah. Is there, you have anything else? Linda, right?
I was just going to make a comment. We had an executive staff meeting yesterday, and one of the things we would like to do, I think, to address, because we are getting more concerns about the roads generally, even though we did write out to every landowner that was impacted by the flood damage and advise them what the schedule was for their work and whatever. But I mean, people like to have a road that they can drive on. I understand that. So I think we should be organising some kind of bus trip so that councillors can actually first-hand get a feel for across the Shire what the situation's like, because you may come across roads that are infinitely worse than the one you're concerned about, and then you realise, well, okay, you've got to have some kind of priority. But also we should then follow that up, I believe, with community meetings where we address this straight away, because if you can tell people why and when, they usually will accept that.
Yeah.
It's when they don't understand why their pothole was missed. That's when you have issues, I think. So that's what we were hopeful of doing. Is the council supportive of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think it's important to get back into those community meetings too.
I do. I agree with that.
That's right. We've had,
I think a point in that regard that has worked is Alex's bypass reviews. I mean, they come up on.
Yeah.
So has that quietened things down? In
I don't
regard
know.
to that? But,
I don't know, is it?
I mean, I find them very interesting to look at. It saves me a drive.
There hasn't been a single piece of correspondence come in about that project
No,
since we
but
started the Facebook
How
video.
many
complainants have
meetings
been
have you missed,
harvesting,
Alex?
haven't they?
Sorry?
The complainants have been harvesting.
Yeah.
How many meetings have you missed though?
None.
Right. I know. I've got a couple of things. Firstly, Leah, you can probably answer this. When will the Warialda office renovations be completed? Because I promised the JO meeting at the end of February to be at Warialda in our office. It may not be available.
It certainly won't be completed, it'll be available, but whether you could fit them into what it is. We're waiting on Colin to give us a time frame, and currently his men are tied up. But
Yeah, right. Well, that's a lot better situated for a JO meeting with the new JO. It's more central
Yep,
on the highway.
yep.
Anyway, you'll take that on board.
How many how do you need to see?
How many units? 6, 7,
Yeah.
might be
7,
14.
7.
14 minimum. Maybe more than that. You'd be looking at least 18 because there's other agencies there. That's if everybody, maximum.
The design is done, it's been done for a long time, and just waiting for the building works. Like,
Those toilets open to the public at the moment?
yes,
Are they?
as soon as we commence work, they'll be closed.
Yeah.
But we've got to negotiate alternative ones with the courthouse as well, so
Yeah.
that's dragging on.
Right. Okay. I'd probably ask you personally, Kelly, but the Australia Day ambassadors, how we go? I see there's one for Guaido, I saw.
Yeah, we've got one allocated, a chap called John Harper.
Yeah.
He's been here before. He's a mental health.
Okay. He's been as ambassador before, has he?
Yeah, he's been to Warialda before.
Can't remember him. Yeah.
Brought there by Landcare or someone
But he?
years ago, and he went to the pub. Yeah.
Right. You got anything?
We negotiated our own. We spoke to Chris Cachel up at
Oh, yeah.
Inverell, simply because we didn't know what the situation had been with COVID and bringing them off planes into the community. We decided
Right.
we'd go outside of that and do
So
our
you've
own.
got one? You're right. Do you have a hand up? Yep. Someone have a hand up down there?
He'd be interested.
Oh, I did, but you were going, you said you were going to address it. It was about that letter.
I have got that on. We've been advised today that we're taking motions for the local government conference, Alga conference in Canberra in June. So if you can think of anything that we need to raise there, do please. The next month, I suppose, we'll have.
In respect to conference, I think I'm booked in for New South Wales.
Yeah.
I think with my problem and whatever,
Yeah.
if I can withdraw or someone else take my place, I'd much.
Okay.
I'd be-
That's at the end of February. So if
Yeah.
anybody interested in going to a conference, state conference that is. Yeah.
Which one is it? Local
The
road.
local government conference is in Sydney in the end of February. It couldn't have been held before because
You're
I'm
booked in, I
already
think, yeah.
it mightn't happen again.
Yeah,
Who
maybe.
knows? Okay, the other thing I had was we have, Max, you'll have to guide me a little bit here, or Alex, the contract that you had to act on outside of council for...
Yes, well, Alex can take you through, but
Yeah.
it was we went through the local government procurement process trying to see people to put bids in. We didn't receive any bids, so then we actively went out and found people to basically respond to a request for a quotation. And they needed a decision made while the council didn't exist because the elections were in place, but they wanted to get all their set up, and it was for IB Ball Road, I think. So based on a request from Alex and the urgency of the situation, under the Local Government Act you can make an urgent decision, which I made, but we thought we better just advise the council that we did it. It was for $150,000.
Yes. And so the total package of works was over $500,000. We have awarded the first $150,000, which we do under the Act while council's in caretaker mode, which was enough to get the construction firm to mobilise and start putting their plans in place to be on site to be constructing at the end of January.
It's for drainage, isn't it?
For drainage, so it's for the drainage works on IB Ball Road, sorry. And a report will be presented to the next council meeting regarding the remaining portion of that work.
It's 550 total, is that right?
Yes.
And the next meeting you'll be seeking endorsement, will you?
Yes.
Righto. Okay. Well, that brings me to the last thing that I have is that the letter that we received. Did you get it, Alex, too?
I did.
Okay, just can you run us through the story there? Is it correct what they're saying?
I'm still gathering information to put the response back to the writers of the letter, but
Hang on a minute. I think, did you not get it, Councillor Morgan? I think they didn't have your email address, it says here somewhere. I'll just go over it really quickly. It's a property on Whitlow Road, saying that their road is now impassable as the trucking company won't come in. Anyway, it goes on, but they're wanting, and it's got a bit of history apparently, started in 2015.
so two things that I'd point out in response to that letter. One is that the statement about resheeting not being done is incorrect.
Okay.
In 2018, I believe it was somewhere in the vicinity of $60,000 was spent on Whitlow Road. The second thing that I'd point out is that using tractors to pull trucks out on wet roads is not a new thing for the northern end of the Shire. It may be for the southern end of the Shire, but with the current state of our road network, it doesn't place Whitlow Road in any worse a situation than other roads within the Shire. With regards to the quality of the maintenance grade, the information I've been able to gather is that the residual gravel that was left on causeways was as a result of cleaning the drains, getting water into causeways, and what could be taken off the slabs was taken off the slabs. Graders aren't scalpels. There's about $350,000 of flood damage money to go onto those roads. Off the top of my head, I don't know when they are scheduled for, but it's a similar story to a lot of other roads within the Shire.
So, are you going to respond to that letter? Or
Yes.
Okay, good. Everybody happy with that? Yep. I knew that there'd be more to it, and there always is. So, yes.
Just a minute to Alex, Alex, on the roads that don't only need maintenance grading, but why don't we put contractors on those roads?
Contractors aren't available.
You got what's name? Michelle's got a grader, and there's another one at Coolity.
Michelle's been working for us recently.
Yeah.
I only became aware yesterday of another contractor that's doing some work on the Fairford Road area that we'll be doing. But to go back a couple of steps, you'll remember November, October of last year, we presented a report regarding a panel contract tender that we were putting out. That's been delayed a little bit, but the result of that tender will be any available contractors will be engaging.
You have got a contract, haven't you, for the Oregon Road? Is there that slab there? Is that being done under contract? The new slab up from Conway's Bridge?
New slab up from Conway's Bridge.
Oh, it's just on a bit, going out.
You go down the steep.
You go down a
Is that
big
what
dip,
you're talking about?
that's got a single box culvert in, single round, it's corrugated culvert actually.
So that one, we haven't got a contract. So for the one you're speaking of, we will be doing with a contractor. We don't have a contractor lined up. We do have a contractor lined up to do a causeway replacement on Blue Knobby Road. If councillors are aware of contractors, please send them my way, because it's the only way we're going to spend the money that we've got. We've put on as many staff as we can, and we've got as much planned as we can.
Dave, who's the golfer that's got a grader at Coolity like that?
It wouldn't be so.
Tom Kilner, but I think Tom's working for ARTC. So I think he's got a pretty, 2 or 3 year contract, so I don't think you'll get hold of Tom.
That's where
And part of the issue that we have with people that own graders, a lot of farmers have got graders. They don't have the appropriate insurance to work on public roads, and their machines might not be suitable either.
And also the skill set too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it from there. I think we're finished, isn't it? Do you have anything
Just
else?
ask one more question, sorry.
Yes,
Where are we
okay.
up to with the Roxy Cafe?
What an excellent question.
it is a good
They've bought
question.
equipment and they're currently getting their own home sorted, and there's a lot of equipment downstairs, and they're waiting for us to do a little bit of work with the counter, and that required professional tradies who have been impossible to get, Faircloth and Reynolds, but they're coming soon, and then they're going to install what they need to install. So it's happening, but very slowly. When it opens, it'll be opened, ready to go. They're not the type of people that want to open it and start going without
enough.
everything being perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's their
'cause-
business, so.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know because I have heard that they've been saying we're holding them up with their opening and
Well,
they're getting very frustrated. But whether or not that's just people talking, I don't know. But
it's
I just
possible. It did take a long time to, well, tradies are busy everywhere.
Oh, yeah, we
And it's a tricky job to fix the stainless steel area for the new counter, and we required specialist people to do it, and we've had to wait for them. Not sure what the dates are, but
And
I
its
know.
heritage listing meant that you just couldn't go in there with a hammer and go at it. Can I just say though, we had an executive meeting yesterday. I'm amazed how often the questions you guys ask here are the same ones we ask at our executive meetings.
Yeah.
Or the same questions I ask.
we all think the same.
I think the other thing I need to add is that the training days in February, 14th and 15th, I think, will be casual attire. Please don't come with a
They're
tie.
very keen.
Is there anyone have anything else? I think we're done.
Just our disclosures that are due by the 25th of Feb.
Oh, the disclosure, I forgot about them. When are they due?
The 25th of Feb,
Right.
for all councillors.
Yeah.
So
This is if you got any money.
if we have
Yes,
any,
yeah.
but we've still got to fill the disclosures in. So we'll come and do that as per normal.
Well, Carmen's not the Casey will probably have to take over. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, that's all I want to know.
That's good because I'd forgotten about it.
And me too.
Just made a note to make sure we're really onto it.
I'm filling out an ill return. Yeah.
Nil returns, it's so stupid.
Bloody stupid.
So you fellas have to do that too. It's declaring any expenses you use to get elected, if any.
Just
Donations you got, all those thousands that you got to.
Yeah.
I tried to do it before December the 31st and I got knocked back. I had to wait till the end of the year.
Did you? Yeah. Because it includes December.
Yeah.
If you want to close the meeting,
Yeah.
then we can turn off the microphones.
Okay. We've
Then
got
we can have the real
got
chats.
morning tea, that's it.
Oh yeah, there's one too.
Okay, right. So, all right, well, I will do that. I'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. There's morning tea downstairs. So thanks, Rebby. That's it.